It is not always necessary that farming can be done in the field, because today you will see some very high-tech indoor farming systems. Hi, good day to everyone, Richard Aguilar here and welcome back to my channel. Now, before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe and push the bell icon for you to receive new updates from my channel. Do you know that high-tech indoor farming is already gaining popularity in some or many countries around the world? So today, I'll just show you some countries that are already embracing the advantages and benefits of indoor farming. So, without further delay, let's start with Netherlands. Here is the big
growing indoors. Dutch farmer Hans Winkel grows tomatoes in 2 greenhouses that cover 20 acres of land. His annual harvest of 2.5 million pounds of tomatoes is more than double the average yield of an outdoor farm. Zwinkel and growers like him achieve high yields by controlling the climate and water for their crops under glass. Filtration systems allow them to collect and recycle the plant's water supply. Crops receive direct sunlight, supplemented as needed by artificial light, and are protected from unpredictable weather events and insects, which almost completely eliminates the use of chemical pesticides.
Another example of indoor farming happening in Netherlands is led by Wageningen University. They take much of the research about indoor farming. Take a look at who is behind this.
The Netherlands Wageningen University has led much of the research on how to best grow crops indoors. Leo Marcellus,
with LEDs, we can also put them in between the plants. And that's very good, because usually there is maybe too much light on the top, but insufficient at the bottom. So we can have a much better distribution of light in the plant.
As in many greenhouses, water for the plants is drained, collected, and reused, reducing their dependence on an outside water source. And instead of sunlight, the researchers use LEDs, light bulbs that can replicate solar light in a variety of colors and intensities.
Now, let's proceed to indoor farming happening in Japan. Fujitsu is a well-known tech company in Japan. But do you know that Fujitsu is also into indoor farming? Take a look at how indoor farming is done here in Fujitsu plant.
So this project is called Kirei Yasai. What does that mean?
Kirei means clean and yasai means vegetable.
Right, the clean vegetable
Clean
project.
vegetable. Not in Japan, but also all over the world.
To differentiate its lettuce from other farmers, Fujitsu has focused on growing a low-potassium variety, which is sold to people with kidney problems who can't process the mineral properly. The lettuce is sold to nursing homes and hospitals in the area, as well as online for patients to buy directly.
There is a pump and nutrient solution pumped up into a top tray like this and flows under the vegetables and the second and the third and return to the pan.
Here is another indoor farming company in Japan called Mirai Vegetable Company. Don't you know that this company is already selling their products internationally? Take a look at this.
Shohei Yoshimoto from the Mirai Vegetable Company. Mirai is the Jap day, and they're sold in supermarkets across Tokyo. The Mirai company is not just in the lettuce business. It's also selling the systems for factory farming, and so far they've had customers in Russia and Mongolia.
And now it's time for us to also see what the USA has to offer when it comes to indoor farming. And at this time, it's all about growing mushroom indoor. Here in Kennett Township, Pennsylvania, growing mushroom indoor is really possible. Take a look at how it's done.
An hour outside Philadelphia, this small community of 8,000 people harvests 500 million pounds of mushrooms every year. All of it indoors and at a low cost of about $1 per pound.
We invested 9 years ago into a Dutch-style farm.
Chris Alonso owns this indoor farm that uses vertical farming methods seen in the Netherlands. Using these techniques, Alonso's facility alone is responsible for more than 1% of the nation's mushroom crop, growing 11 million pounds of mushrooms a year, protected from potentially harsh outdoor conditions.
The only day we take off is Christmas. And the consumer wants fresh produce year-round, so we're able to meet the needs to have locally grown produce all year round, as opposed to some crops where they're only grown seasonally. So mushrooms has been sustainable for generations. However, land is affordable because Mother Nature provides rain, Mother Nature provides sun. Growing indoors is very capital intensive. You have the building, you have the infrastructure, you have energy costs. But if you can maximize productivity and having consistent quality year round, yes, it's economically viable.
Another indoor farming in the US is taking place at San Francisco.
Like spinach and kale, the easiest and most affordable crop to grow indoors.
Instead of using 15 gallons of water to produce 1 head of lettuce, we use less than 1/5 of a gallon to produce that same head of lettuce. So we're saving a significant amount of water, and we can actually influence the way the food tastes by making sure it has exactly the right nutrient recipe, the right light recipe, the right water recipe.
The plants grow directly out of vertical columns. Similar to Dutch researchers, the company also uses LED lights, water recycling, and climate control. No genetically modified seeds or pesticides are used in production. Instead, it's the environment that's modified, carefully crafted around each type of plant to give them the ideal conditions for growing.
And lastly, another example of indoor farming happening in the US is taking place at Toronto. At this time, it's all about growing green leafy vegetables, but what's unique about this is the use of multicolored LED lights that look like disco lights. Take a look at this.
Is this the future of farming, or is that being a little dramatic?
I think it's a big part of it. It's not going to be the whole future of agriculture. I think there's a role to play for leafy greens and herbs.
It may